Hey there, and welcome. Today, we are going to tackle one of the biggest, scariest hurdles for every single nursing student out there, the NCLEX exam. But don't you worry, because we're about to turn that mountain into a totally manageable path. We've got a clear 3-month game plan that's designed to get you from student to registered nurse.
I mean, let's just be honest for a second. For so many of us, the word NCLEX just brings up this feeling of dread, right? A ton of anxiety, a whole lot of pressure. It feels like the final boss battle after years of grinding. If you've ever felt that pit in your stomach just thinking about it, trust me, you are not alone. It's a huge, huge deal.
But what if you had a clear step-by-step plan? That's exactly what we're going to build, right here, right now. We're going to take all that anxiety and turn it into a confident, actionable strategy. You ready? Okay, let's dive in.
So first things first, we have to understand our opponent. What is the NCLEX really testing? Knowing this, truly getting it, is the key that unlocks this entire study strategy.
Okay, this right here, this is probably the single most important mindset shift you need to make. The NCLEX is not a trivia game. It's not trying to catch you on some obscure fact you forgot from first semester. It's designed to answer one simple question. Can you apply what you know and think like a nurse in a real-world situation? That's it. Nailing this concept is the key to the whole plan.
So how do we build that critical thinking muscle? Well, it all comes down to a consistent daily rhythm. Think of this schedule as the engine for the entire plan. Sticking with it for about 6 to 8 hours a day, that's what builds momentum and makes all this information actually stick.
And this daily engine, it's built on a really powerful cycle. You start your morning just absorbing the theory, building up that knowledge base. Then, midday, you immediately put that knowledge to the test with practice questions. And the evening? Well, that's where the real learning happens. You dig into what you got wrong and you turn those mistakes into strengths. It's this constant loop. Learn, apply, reinforce.
All right, let's zoom out and take a look at the big picture. Here's how all those daily efforts start to stack up over the entire 3-month journey. You can really think of it as a steady climb to peak performance right on exam day.
It's all about logical progression. We're going to start in month 1 by building this rock-solid foundation of the absolute core concepts. Then, in month 2, we build on top of that, tackling all the major nursing specialties. In month 3, that's the final sprint. It's all about intense review and simulating the real exam so you peak at just the right moment.
Okay, let's break down month 1. I want you to think of this as laying the concrete for everything else that's going to follow. Seriously, the strength of your entire preparation depends on how well you master these concepts right here. We kick things off with the principles that apply to pretty much every patient every time: fundamentals, safety, and infection control. Week 3, we pivot to high-yield pharmacology, because let's face it, meds are a critical part of the job. And then in week 4, we master the numbers game: fluids, electrolytes, and lab values, the stuff that tells you what's really going on with your patient. This is your bedrock. Now, with that solid foundation poured and set, we move into the heart of the nursing curriculum in month 2. This is where you'll start applying all those fundamental principles to specific patient populations and tricky clinical situations. The first 2 weeks are a deep dive into med surg, for one simple reason: it's the biggest and most foundational part of the exam. Then, in week 7, we shift our focus to the entire lifespan, covering OB, GYN, and PEDS. We round out the month with psych and community health, making sure every major clinical area gets covered, and covered well. Welcome to the final month. The focus here shifts a lot. We're moving away from learning brand new content and towards sharpening your test-taking skills, building up your endurance, and hunting down any of those remaining weak spots. This is all about peaking at exactly the right time. So, this month starts about building your stamina with timed practice tests to really simulate the real exam. The results from that week become your roadmap for week 10, where you'll perform surgical strikes on your weak areas. Week 11 is all about staying agile, using mixed question sets so you don't get stuck in one topic. And that final week? That's for a targeted review, locking in those must-know labs and meds right before game day. So that's the what and the when, but all of that is pretty useless without the how. Having a map is one thing, but knowing how to actually read it is something else entirely. Let's get into the specific strategies that will make every single study hour count. 5,000. I know that number might seem a little staggering, but it is your single greatest asset. The Saunders Guide alone has a massive bank of practice questions. And why is that so important?
Well, because every single question you do fine-tunes your ability to understand the very specific logic and style of the NCLEX. In this case, volume. It really does matter.
But just cranking through questions isn't enough. The real learning, the gold, is found in the rationales. You have to train yourself to understand not only why the right answer is right, but just as importantly, why every wrong answer is wrong. This is how you build that critical thinking muscle we've been talking about.
And here are a few more high-impact tactics. Use active recall with flashcards for things like meds and labs. Don't just read them over and over, force your brain to actually pull the information out. When you do practice tests, simulate the real thing. Time yourself, no phone, no distractions. And most of all, constantly practice prioritization and delegation questions. They are a huge part of the NCLEX.
A great plan needs great tools. But the good news is, you don't need a massive library of books. You just need a few key, high-quality resources to really execute this game plan the right way.
Your toolkit is actually pretty simple and focused. The Saunders Comprehensive Review Book is going to be your main textbook. The Question Bank app is like your gym for practicing on the go. And finally, adding in a few other online practice tests, just make sure you're seeing different question styles. That's it. That is your complete toolkit.
So there you have it, a day-by-day, week-by-week, month-by-month plan to conquer the NCLEX. You've got the structure, you've got the strategies, and you've got the tools. Everything you need to succeed is right here.
The only question left is the one on the screen. This plan works if you work the plan. The path is laid out right in front of you now. It's your time to walk it. Good luck.